Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we're taking a look at this BLACK+DECKER 40V Max Cordless Hedge Trimmer. This is a 22-inch. The model number is LHT2240. Now, it doesn't exist anymore in terms of it being on Amazon to purchase, but I'm going to put a link in the description for the nearest type that is similar to this. Like I said, this is a 22-inch. So if you need longer than that, and I can tell you from experience and from using this one for a couple of years that the 22-inch versus 24-inch, there's often a decent difference in price. While you might think it's not a big deal, and depending on your yard, you might not think it's a big deal, I realize that those 2 inches make a big difference in terms of maybe you needing a ladder to reach certain spaces or a stepping stool to reach certain things where I probably wouldn't need it as much without it. And specifically when it comes to reaching outwards like that, not so much reaching upwards, but reaching outwards over some hedges where I would then need, if I'm standing up, I can reach but so far, but if I'm on a stepping stool, now I can reach even further over. So I say that to say those 2 inches might make the difference. It may not seem like a lot, but depending on your yard, and I would tell you guys, maybe get a tape measure, put it at 22 inches, put it at 24 inches, and just walk around your yard and see how much of a difference that makes in advance. I'm giving you this advice now because I didn't notice at the time, and I thought 22 inches versus 24 didn't make a big deal because the difference in price was something like, I think it was over $50, somewhere between like $50 and like $80 difference. Now, I'm not saying it necessarily justifies that. You have the workarounds, but if you've got a big yard where you're gonna constantly have to be standing on a stepping stool on various different places where you gotta pick up the stepping stool and walk it around versus not having to do that, that might make a difference for you. So this is the battery that it comes with, and we're gonna slap this on. Now the battery has a spot. It's not glowing right now. Let me hope that this battery is charged. Let me see that it's working. Okay, it is. Now I've had this for a while, so it's not showing this. Let me see if I take it off, if it's gonna show it. So it's not showing it, but normally when you have this and it's fresh and you bought it brand new, you can press this button and it's gonna indicate how much power you have. But mine is not showing that right now. This is your hand grip area, and this is your guard. Very important. Be mindful, never put your hand over this. Sometime when you're not looking, you quickly grab. You might find yourself almost putting your hand here. Be very careful with that. Now, you can see the design here. It's a very comfortable design. There's no kind of additional things in terms of features that, where I recently reviewed a weed whacker that had a double power feature. There might be some versions of these that do, this one doesn't. And I don't think you necessarily need that because it's not about an issue of power when it comes to this. The power is usually enough. You can get through some pretty thick branch, like I'm not gonna say branches, but pieces of plants that, you know, are pretty thick. This usually cut through a lot of stuff. So you're not gonna have a problem with that, and it works really well. Now, this right here is your safety button. You press this first, and then you're able to pull this handle in. And then once you do that, now you can just put pressure underneath here, and you don't have to press this. So press that. Okay. So I'm gonna demonstrate some on this little bush right here. Now, obviously, this is not a good plant for what it would be used for. We're gonna come over this way, and then we're gonna lock into a different plant over here. And this will give us a little bit, to be a little bit easier for you guys to see. Let me come on this side. Now, obviously, it's a little challenging because I'm right up against the wall here, but other than that, it's able to cut through most of this without a problem. So I'm gonna also zoom in to show you guys. Let me take this off actually. And we're gonna get in here. So I just wanna show you guys. Now it can cut through pieces that are this big, branch, we're gonna call it branch for lack of a better word. But it can cut through the base of that thick, but sometimes you gotta really grind it on there. And obviously if you didn't have this wall against here and it's just open air, it'd be easier to kind of press against it. I have no clue what kind of bug that is right there. Very interesting. What is that? Anyway, you guys, so it can handle that. So it gives you an idea of what it can handle. Sometimes with those types, you just got to kind of press it on it and grind it a little bit, but then it will cut through without a problem. So that's about the limit that you could really cut through, where it's kind of soft plant material like this. When it gets a little bit more hard and brown, the bark, then at that point, it will get a little bit challenging to cut through. So once again, you guys, that is a quick look at this Black & Decker hedge trimmer. Link's gonna be in the description, like I said, for comparable models, because this one is no longer in production, but the other ones that they have are essentially the exact same type, just slightly different model name. And I'm not really too sure what they changed about them when I looked it up, but nonetheless, they're gonna function the same way. So as always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.